Welcome back to the podcast, everyone.
Sa.
Today, we're tackling a topic that honestly makes even seasoned travelers a little bit nervous. English conversations at immigration control. You know that feeling, right? You've just landed, you're tired, and suddenly you're in a queue. Your heart's pounding because you know the next important conversation is going to be in English. Emily, I bet you've felt that before.
Oh, absolutely, Paul. Every single time, especially when I was just starting out with my English. It's like you prepare for months, you study, you practice, and then you're face to face with an officer who has this very serious expression, and suddenly all your English just flies out the window. Okay.
It's the pressure, isn't it? It's a formal situation. You don't want to mess up. And sometimes the questions can feel a bit intense. But the good news is, for most leisure or business travel, the questions are actually quite predictable and straightforward. That's what we want to demystify today.
Exactly. The goal isn't to trick you, it's to ensure you're entering the country legitimately. Once you understand the common questions and how to respond clearly and concisely, that anxiety really melts away. We're here to give you that confidence today.
Fantastic. So, let's dive right in. Imagine you've landed, you're at the immigration booth, and the officer says, "Good morning. Next, please." What's the very first thing they're almost always going to ask for, Jack?
Easy. May I see your passport, please? Or just, passport, please? Your response should be simple. Yes, of course. Here you are, or here is my passport. Always keep it ready and open to the photo page.
And remember to smile. It helps, even though you might be nervous. A little bit of politeness goes a long way. Don't just shove it at them, you know?
That's a great point, Emily. Beyond just the words, your demeanor is important. Be calm, polite, and confident. The officer isn't usually trying to catch you out, they're just doing their job.
Okay, so passport exchanged. Next, they might want to know a bit about your journey. Questions like, where did you fly from and what is your final destination? Emily, how would you typically answer those?
I'd say I flew from Brazil, if that's where I started. And for the final destination, if I'm landing in Toronto but going somewhere else later, I'd clarify. But usually it's my final destination is Canada, or Toronto, Canada, if that's where I'm staying first.
It's good to be specific, but not overly detailed. They're looking for clear, direct answers. You don't need to give them your entire travel itinerary unless they ask for it.
And the "are you traveling alone" question is common too. A simple "yes, I am traveling alone" or "no, I'm with my family friends" is sufficient. If you're with others, be prepared for them to ask to see their passports or call them over.
Right, simple and direct.
Now,
Arguably the most important question for any traveler, what is the purpose of your visit? Sarah, this one has a few common answers, doesn't it?
Absolutely. This is where you explain why you're in their country. The most common answers are, I am visiting for tourism, or I am here for vacation. But it could also be, I am traveling for business, I am coming to study, or I am visiting family. Be truthful and clear.
I've heard people stumble on this, trying to give a whole story. Just tourism is perfectly fine if that's your reason. No need to elaborate unless prompted.
exactly. If you're there for business, you might follow up with, "I'm attending a conference," or "I have a business meeting." But keep it brief initially.
Perfect. Following that, they'll want to know about your duration. How long are you planning to stay? Or how long will you stay? Emily, how would you respond?
I'd say I am planning to stay for 10 days, or I will stay for 2 weeks. Just give the exact number of days or weeks you intend to be there. No need to say, until my flight back, or anything vague.
And it's always good to have your return ticket information handy, just in case they ask for proof, which they often do with the question, do you have a return ticket?
Yes, I do. Here is my return flight information, is a solid answer. They just want to ensure you're not planning to overstay your welcome.
Great. So we've covered the basics. Now, where will you be resting your head? The officer will ask, Where will you be staying? Jack, what's a good way to answer that?
I will be staying at a hotel in downtown Toronto, or I'll be with a friend in Vancouver. If you're at a hotel, have the hotel name and ideally the address ready. If you're with a friend or family, their name and address are useful to have.
I actually had an officer ask me for the exact street number once. I just pulled up my hotel reservation on my phone. So having that digital confirmation is super helpful.
That's a fantastic tip, Emily. Proof of accommodation is key. Whether it's a hotel booking, an Airbnb confirmation, or the address of your host, have it easily accessible.
So we've got the core questions down. Let's talk about some follow-up scenarios. What if it's your first time in the country? They might ask, have you visited this country before?
Simple. No, this is my first time. Or, yes, I visited last year. Just be honest. If you know someone there, they might follow up with, do you know anyone here?
And if you say yes, be prepared to give their name and possibly contact information or address. Yes, I have a friend who lives in Toronto. His name is Michael. They might even ask to see his contact info.
Having that ready, even a quick screenshot of their contact details, saves a lot of time and shows you're prepared. It builds trust, which is really what they're looking for.
That's a smart move. Let's move on to finances. They need to know you can support yourself during your stay. How much money are you bringing for your trip is a common one. What's the best approach there?
Give a reasonable estimate. I have about $2,000 with me, or I have enough funds for my stay. And always mention your credit card. Yes, I also have a credit card for emergencies and additional expenses.
Yeah, don't just say, I don't know. They want to know you're not going to be stranded or a burden. Even if you're not carrying a huge amount of cash, the credit card shows financial stability.
Some countries might even have minimum daily fund requirements, so it's wise to check that before you travel, especially for longer stays.
That's an excellent point, Sarah. Let's talk about luggage. This is another area where people sometimes get tripped up. How many bags do you have is pretty straightforward.
I have one suitcase and one carry-on bag, or whatever your number is. The follow-up is important. Did you pack your bags yourself?
And the answer is almost always, yes, I packed them myself. This is a security question, making sure no one planted anything in your bags without your knowledge.
And crucially, did anyone give you anything to carry? This is another security check. The only acceptable answer here is no, nobody gave me anything. Never carry anything for strangers.
Absolutely. That's a critical safety rule for international travel. And finally, on luggage, are you carrying any food, plants, or animals? Emily, what's the usual answer there?
No, I am not usually. Unless you are, then you declare it! Don't try to hide an apple or a sandwich, because if they find it, it can be a big problem.
Yeah, be honest. Some countries are very strict about agricultural products. It's better to declare and maybe have it confiscated than to face fines or issues.
Great advice. Now, let's look at specific travel types. For business travelers, the questions might be slightly different. What's the main difference, Sarah?
Beyond purpose of visit being business, they likely ask, what company do you work for? And what is the purpose of your business trip? You should have a clear answer ready, like, I work for an international technology company, and I am attending a business meeting or a conference.
And importantly, do you have an invitation letter? Many business travelers will have one from the host company. It's really helpful to have that printed out or easily accessible on your phone.
Even for conferences, having your registration confirmation or an agenda can be useful, just to show what you're actually doing there.
That makes sense. What about students? Emily, you mentioned you were a student when you first started traveling. What were some of the specific questions for you?
Definitely. They'd ask, why are you coming to this country? And I'd say, I am coming to study. Then, which school will you attend and how long is your program? So, University of Toronto, and it is 1 year. And the big one, do you have your student documents?
Your letter of acceptance, proof of enrollment, even proof of funds for your studies are all crucial. Having those physical copies or easily accessible digital versions can make the process much smoother.
Don't just assume they know you're a student. You have to clearly state it and provide proof. It's a completely different visa category than tourism, for example.
Absolutely. Now, what happens when you don't understand a question? This is where a lot of the anxiety comes from, right? Sarah, what are some useful phrases?
It's totally okay to not understand. Don't just guess or nod. Be honest. You can say, Sorry, could you repeat that please? Or could you speak more slowly? If you still don't get it, try, I'm sorry, I don't understand, or can you explain the question? It shows you're trying to cooperate.
I've used "could you repeat that" so many times. It's perfectly normal, and officers are usually patient. They'd rather you understand and give a correct answer than make a mistake.
And sometimes they'll rephrase the question using simpler vocabulary. For example, if they say, "What is your occupation?" and you don't understand, they might then say, "What is your job?" That makes it much clearer.
Great example, Jack. That's a good natural way for the conversation to adapt. Let's talk about a couple of common problems travelers encounter. What if you don't have a physical printout of your accommodation, just an email on your phone?
Just tell them, I'm sorry, I don't have the paper, but I have the email confirmation on my phone. And then be ready to show it. Most officers are fine with digital copies these days.
"Yeah, let me see it," is the standard response. So be prepared to quickly unlock your phone and navigate to the email or app.
Another one is forgetting the exact address. If they ask, "What address will you stay at?" and you only know the hotel name, say, "I know the hotel name, but I don't remember the exact address." Then quickly add, "I have the reservation on my phone." Again, it's about having the proof ready.
See? There's usually a solution, right? Don't panic. Just be transparent and show them what you do have. Let's touch on some slightly more advanced questions you might hear, perhaps if you're traveling from a country that requires more scrutiny or for longer stays.
They might start with something like, what brings you here today? Which is just another way of asking purpose of visit. Your answer would be the same. I am here to visit the country and explore the cities.
And then, do you have enough funds for your stay? Again, yes, I have enough money and a credit card. They might get more specific. Have you purchased travel insurance? Which is definitely a good idea to have.
Then come the tougher ones, like, have you ever been refused entry into another country? Or have you ever stayed longer than your visa allowed? For most people, the answer is, no, I have not, or no, never. Just be honest, because they likely have this information on file.
Honesty is always the best policy. And finally, on the advanced side, are you carrying any restricted items? This loops back to the luggage questions, but it's a broader, more serious query. The answer should be a firm, no, I am not, unless you have something specific to declare.
Yeah, restricted items can be anything from weapons to certain medications without a prescription, or even large amounts of cash without declaration. When in doubt, declare.
Fantastic. So we've covered a wide range of questions. Before we wrap up, let's quickly go over some common mistakes to avoid. Emily, what's a phrase you should definitely avoid at immigration?
I don't know. Never say I don't know. If you're unsure, say, I'm not sure. Let me check my documents, or I need a moment to confirm. It sounds much more responsible.
Another one is maybe. That's too vague. If you're answering about plans, say I believe or I think, followed by your most likely plan, but clarify you're prepared to adjust.
And the big one for me, don't give long, rambling explanations. The officers are dealing with hundreds of people. They want clear, direct answers. Answer the question and stop. If they need more info, they'll ask.
Those are crucial tips. To sum it all up, going through immigration can feel stressful, but preparation makes everything easier. Let's do a quick practice dialogue. I'll be the officer, and Emily, you be the passenger.
What is the purpose of your visit?
I am here for vacation.
How long will you stay?
I will stay for 7 days.
Where are you staying?
At a hotel near the airport.
Do you have a return ticket?
Yes, I do. It's on my phone.
Okay. Welcome to the country.
Thank you very much.
See, simple, direct, and confident. With practice, airport English really does become easy. Sarah, any final thoughts for our listeners?
Just remember to speak clearly, stay calm, and answer honestly. Keep all your documents ready and accessible. It makes a world of difference. Your preparation will shine through.
And don't forget to double-check visa requirements for your destination before you even book your flight. That's the first step to a stress-free entry.
Yes, and enjoy the journey. Immigration is just one small part of your amazing trip.
Excellent advice from everyone. Thank you, Emily, Jack, and Sarah, for making what can be a daunting experience feel so much more manageable. To all our listeners, we hope this episode boosts your confidence for your next international adventure. Have a safe trip, and we'll catch you next time.